Yes. We're back in the game. We're back in a hot seat. We're back down the beach. We're back to work after having 2 weeks off. It's been great. I hope you're really good. Welcome to show 444. 444. That's a lot of shows. So today we're going to look at 3 key strategies that I implemented or have implemented in my life and have taught other high achieving family men and like busy working professionals to protect their quality time at home with their families. So I thought that this would be quite beneficial for you, so that you could actually go away and practice this as we're drawing nearer towards the end of holidays, or we're still slightly in holidays. All right, so let's get stuck in. Welcome to the Rise to Thrive show. I am your host, James Foreman, and if you are coming through, please do hit the love heart button. Please do comment honestly if you struggle with protecting that quality time on an evening, and here's the key word: consistently. Okay, it's great if you do it every now and then, or last week you had a good week, but over the last 3 months, have you shown up consistently in the evening to have that quality time with your partner and kids? Cool. All right, so good to be back. Yep, missed you guys as well. Got lots of exciting things coming up this year. Seminar pretty much is at capacity for what we want it to be, which is great. So we're going to be shutting the doors to that very soon up in Birmingham. So I'm looking forward to seeing some faces up there. We've got loads over the next 18 months. So let me just have a quick swig of coffee. So here's the main problem. Here is the main problem for the vast amount, and this really applies to those working professionals, those guys that are working, coming home, and they're not quite getting the quality time that they want with their wife to build a relationship and a connection, and they're not coming back and being that superhero to their kids consistently enough, right? And that ends up leaving you with feeling guilty or stressed or frustrated at the fact that you are not giving those guys much more of your attention, and equally on the other side, their frustration and their stress of not getting you at your best or at your fully present. Okay, so that tends to be the main problem, right? And for a lot of people who run their own business or are heavy into their career or are working, when they come home, our brain tends to be completely and utterly consumed with the intensity of the work. One thing I've known running my own business is that at the end of the working day, I've got to make sure I have something in place to be able to transition out of that deep, intense thinking and work that's been happening all day. Okay. And I know for a lot of guys that I've worked with, work becomes the constrictor, if you like. I'm not sure if that's a new word. To you having a really quality evening with people. All right. So here's my 3 strategies, and these are the things that I think overall really matter. And I think without overwhelming you and to be more consistent, we stick to these 3 things. So the first one is to enforce barriers. Okay, enforce barriers. So what do barriers do for you to help you with your quality time? Let me just move this light a little bit. So what do barriers do to help you enforce quality time, okay, with your family in the evening? So if you think about any barrier, it basically stops something. An idea of a barrier is to stop something. So what ends up happening, okay, let's say this is 5 o'clock and this is the working day. You normally go through here and you go straight past that barrier, and as soon as you're in this side of the barrier is family space and quality time. This side is professional and career, right? So this side is when we should be spending time, energy and focus with our children and our wife, okay? But whether you do it physically or practically, or whether you are emotionally or mentally still consuming yourself with work on this side of the barrier, Okay, so we must ensure that we enforce this barrier and reinforce it to say, this is when it stops, so that this can happen. Because the byproduct of that not happening over a longer period of time is that you then move further and further and further away from your wife in terms of connection levels, in terms of building a relationship, in terms of communication and understanding. Okay, what it results in for you and your children is that they don't want to play with you, they don't want you to put you to bed, you don't have that connection, daddy's always busy, daddy's always on his phone, daddy's never listening to me. I'm sure some of you have been there. If you've been there, hit the thumb button so that other people can see that you're not the only person in this situation. I've been there. I've been there. And it's because I get so overzealous and overambitious and overdriven and overpassionate about my business, right? So I just go like I'm going in. So the barrier that we enforce here is a timing barrier. Okay, it's an element of going, this timing is going to shift my balance. Okay, it's going to shift my focus and shift my energy into something else. So if your barrier, let's say, is, right, I finish work at 5, we then have what's called a transition routine. So between 5 and half 5, we work on a couple of things that slowly decompress our mental state, our emotional state, our physical state from work so that we can unwind, leave the armour at the door and walk through the door and be present for our family. Okay? So whatever time that is going to be for you, set it, and then set 30 minutes where you do a brain dump, where you get everything out of your head, you write down the top 3 things that you've got to do tomorrow, and then you do something in some form of activity, whether it's a walk, whether it's the gym, whether it's punching your punching bag, whatever, some form of activity. And over that half an hour, you can slowly decompress. Okay, so that's strategy number 1. Make sense to everyone? Okay, strategy number 2 is that once you have left that armour under the door, at the door, and you have gone through that decompression cycle, I want you to turn this off. Okay? I want you to turn it off. I want you to turn it off or put it on aeroplane mode and put it out of sight. This is the biggest culprit for guys being distracted at home. Okay, sitting there, your wife's trying to talk to you and you're like, yep, just got to send this, or yep, just going to TikTok in, or I'm Instagramming, or I'm doing something. And your kid's talking to you, yep, I'll be there in just 1 second. That is the biggest distractor. Biggest distractor. So when you get home and you walk through the door, you turn it off, and you can't turn it back on again until the kids have gone to bed. Okay? Or get yourself this, is like £10 a month. £10 a month. My work phone's the one I'm talking to. That goes off when I finish. And then there's about 8 numbers on here. There's no social media. There's nothing. So that close family and friends can get hold of me. Alright, so I can then just turn that work phone off. Hide that. So it's out of sight and I'm not tempted. Okay? And then I can become more present. Does that make sense? Who here, if you feel like you have an issue with your phone and you're distracted with your phone, what I want you to do now is hit the love heart button. So just as many times as possible, but you've got to be honest. I don't want you going, oh no, that's me. Because a lot of the time, some people think they're the only person that goes through that. Okay? And admitting that you do that is the first start of you actually changing something. All right? So going, yeah, that's me. Okay, so the last one, and it's not sexy at all, it's consistency. The last one is doing this consistently. It's great, right, if tonight, while it's present in your mind, like JB's come back and he's talked about quality time in the evening, and you do it tonight, but then tomorrow there's some excuse, and then Wednesday's a bit better, then Thursday there's another excuse. You become the byproduct of the consistency that you show yourself right across the board. Okay. So it can be overwhelming. It can be really difficult. It does take discipline. It does take structure. It does take relentlessness and resolve and resilience to change your habits and your routines. But and this is going to the most extreme. So and I am only going to the extreme because I've been doing this a long time, so I've seen it. Over a long period of time, okay, if you consistently neglect your quality time, and I'm talking about over a long period of time, and you stop communicating with your wife, and you stop being open with her, and you stop understanding each other, and you slowly start drifting apart, this is how it starts. Just like change starts at 1% every single day, improving yourself, it also has the opposite effect when you don't show up consistently. You go 1% in the wrong direction. And if you do that in a relationship, you become disconnected. And when you become disconnected, one of you doesn't want to be with the other person anymore because you don't know that person. And I know you think I'm probably being quite extreme, and you probably think that's never going to happen to me. But that's what all of the guys said that I've always worked with. And it just creeps up on you. And then all of a sudden, you're being pulled aside, sat down at the kitchen table and said, we're not working anymore. We don't connect anymore. We don't do anything anymore. You're always into your work. You're always on your phone. You're always doing social media. The kids always want your time. You're not paying. And I have taken that right to the very extreme, guys. But whenever you're not being consistent, I want you to always think of the most extreme outcome that could happen from you not showing up. Because for me, one of my jobs, I see myself as a high performance coach. And part of being successful within your career or your business is making sure that home is success first. There is no success in your career or your business. You are not successful unless your success at home comes first. Everything that you do stems from your home life, from your family life, from the relationship with your wife, from the relationship with your children. If that is not set in place, it doesn't matter whether you got promoted. It doesn't matter how well your business is doing, because you haven't got your core priorities squared away first. And to be consistent at doing something like just finding that quality time, and by the way, if you get home at 6, you've only got a couple of hours in the evening with them. Okay? They deserve as much attention as you give your career and business. So remember that when you're showing up. Remember that, okay? Remember that when it comes to those strategies that keep you in play, that keep you focused and keep you hungry, okay? It's important because we're all driven and we're all ambitious and we all want to get ahead, but sometimes other people that we love the most get sacrificed, and it's my job just to highlight that, okay? So that's it. But I do have something very exciting, and it should be ready for, the waiting list should be ready for next Wednesday. And it's the first time that we're going to do this, and I've been working on this for the last 2-3 months, and it's all completely free. So on the 18th of September, I'm going to be running a brand new 3-day Awaken Your Potential course, online course, okay? And it's going to be my job over those 3 days and the build up to help those high achieving family guys who are not showing up at their potential to get them to that potential. So that deficit between where they are showing up, where they're just existing and are going through the motions, and the pedestal that they want to get to, we're going to fill that deficit. Okay, it's going to be a really exciting process. I've thrown nearly £2,000 worth of bonuses within it as well, including bonus workshops, bonus programs that we're giving away PDF versions of my book. We're giving away, for everyone that shows up to every session live, a free training day with me down here in Bexhill. It's going to be brilliant. So I just want to put the feelers out. It's going to be for people that don't work for me. It's going to be people that who do work with me already, that want to come in and get that refresher. But it's going to be an incredible event, and we're going to do a waiting list so that you can get yourself on there. It's all free, doesn't cost a penny, and I'm really looking forward to putting that out to you. So next Wednesday, 5:30, we'll see you all again. Thanks for everyone that's shown up. I really appreciate it. It's good to be back. I just want to know what your number one takeaway is from the show, and if you have the commitment to do that, as soon as I end it here, just go back into it and comment your number one takeaway.